Heidi ho there, friends and neighbors. Bobby here today. Hey folks, today I got a funny little story. Actually, you mechanics out there might get a kick out of it, especially some of you older ones. Anyway, I live in North Carolina, and in North Carolina we've had mandatory state inspection for years and years, ever since I actually got in this business back in the late 80s. But a funny story that actually has been spread around quite a bit amongst several mechanics that I know. And anyway, I can't even remember what shop it happened in or who it happened to. But back in the day, not so much anymore. You don't see DMV officers as much anymore because everything's pretty much computerized. They can kind of keep an eye on what's going on. If there's any red flags or anything, then you might get a visit from a DMV officer. But back in the day, when we used to tailpipe test here in North Carolina, everything was handwritten. You'd get a visit from your local DMV officer about once a month. He would come by, he would check out all your paperwork, and if you had any new inspectors that just went to class or what have you, he would actually in person make you perform a state inspection for him. Okay, so anyway, there was this DMV officer that evidently was pretty new as well. You know, I don't think he knew a whole lot about cars. Okay, but anyway, he's having this guy do a state inspection on a car, and he's having him point out all the emissions components on the vehicle. And he asked the guy, he says, well, show me the Cadillac Convertible. And the mechanic looks at him and he says, do you mean the catalytic converter? And he said, yeah, that's what I meant. So anyway, that story gets spread around. I can't even remember who told me this, first of all, but I have heard this story even from other mechanics that work in other shops. That the word of that story and that DMV officer referring to a catalytic converter as a Cadillac Convertible was just, it cracked everybody up. It was so funny. I can't even remember the name of the DMV officer or anything. But anyway, thought that was kind of a funny story I'd share with you. And I tell everybody that story. Even when the last place I worked at, I was telling the guys about the story, and we had this young guy, and he had the idea. He said, well, let's just call the parts store, and let's just tell them we have a 2004 Nissan Pathfinder, and we need a Cadillac converter for it. I'm sorry, a Catalytic Convertible for it. You know, so he gets on the phone, he calls a couple of our different parts vendors, and of course they pick up on it right away. And it was just a lot of good fun. Anyway, guys, I just wanted to share that little funny story with you, and hopefully you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time. Take care.